everyone. I hope traders and investors alike were green yesterday. In this video, I want to go over the Chinese list we put together last week. We have made some changes on it, and this is a little more than an update. We added one stock. We also added some intraday charts to take a better look at them over multiple time frames. We've also had some changes. We picked up some articles yesterday saying that the Chinese stocks were rising as central banks infuse cash to stabilize the liquidity of their stocks, their stock market, their economy in general. We also picked up some stuff, that they've been doing some tax credits and some subsidies with their EVs, the Chinese EV makers, and they are looking to extend those. So that's also good news for those as well. So BABA, we talked last week about how it was trading in this cup, and we were forming this little handle. You can see we opened Monday very flat, or I'm sorry, Tuesday. I'm a day off. We opened Tuesday very flat, and then we did manage to trend up. Watch this Bollinger Band coming into some resistance here. You can see this is not a textbook cup on the bottom of the chart or anything, but this little rounded bottom here coming back to the top of that. So you got a nice little cup and handle here. Even textbook, it shouldn't be on the bottom of the chart, but as you can see, we're getting it on the bottom of the chart. MACD looks good. You're seeing momentum come back into your histogram, getting a nice little spread there. Not as big as I would like to see, but I have a feeling if we keep moving like that, it's going to continue to move up. My major issue with some of these stocks are the way they gap like they do. It can be really good if you're in them and they gap up, but unfortunately, as you can see, they can gap down the same way, and you can suffer some really big losses. Watch your 200. Your 200 is going to move down this week. It should lay right on top of this resistance line. See where we open up Monday morning with BABA. This is BABA's weekly chart, and you can see you're going to see a lot of these rounded bottoms. Some are more noticeable than others. You also have this little hammer candle down here. More like a dragonfly, to be honest. You don't have much of a head on it, but you have this really tight little hammer candle down here. Not quite a dragonfly. We're going to call it a hammer. Also have this rounded bottom. You have this downtrend. And this is the weekly chart. You're taking this downtrend out, coming back, retesting your 20. Nice textbook move up. Nice looking MACD, showing more relative strength in the market. This is what the market's pushing up a little, have a little more off here than what the market does itself. So showing a little relative strength on the weekly. So this is the 15-minute chart, and you can see, unfortunately, you can see these gaps I was talking about. If you're in this and you're in calls, that's great. If you're expecting it to go down or it goes against you, it's going to suck this thing. You wake up in the morning, this thing's done moved $4 or $5 against you. It's going to hurt. These are, to my opinion, they're good to day trade. The holding is gambling, and that's how I look at holding in general. Holding is gambling. I'm an intraday trader, day trader, and I try to stick with that attitude. It has served me well. But you can see we've gapped up here. We are grinding up. You could put a trend line on this. You could also just use your 50. Maybe you got a touch of the 50 here and it push. Maybe if you're intraday trading, watch your 15-minute chart. See if you can get a touch of the 50. If you can get that, you can probably, there's a better chance of it, going with the flow, follow the trend your friend. The trend is, respecting this 50. Maybe you could get lucky, get a little pullback, a touch of the 50, may be a spot to look for an entry. Of course, if you're a more experienced trader, there's other ways to enter. Draw you some trend lines, get a better idea, look for a touch of the trend, look for respecting the trend. You can see some flags in there. Look how it's flagging up over. That's your 20 and 9, up over, right back into your 9. You can play buy the 9 off the 15. This is Baidu. Pretty much the same setup. You had this cup, this handle. You can see this week it's been pushing up nicely. It's been, the price action has been kind of tight in there, but it finally got above this 200. This may want to move here. I would still watch the top of this level here. Obviously, rejection there once, rejection there twice. Like I say, I mean, we like to see cups more on the top side of the chart into a base and not down here on the bottom, but you have a cup and handle down here on the bottom. We can call it a rounded bottom, we can call it a saucer. Doesn't really matter, honestly. It doesn't really matter what you call it if you're looking at it with the right mindset of a bullish mindset and you finding a base. So basically, this is a rounded bottom, or a cup is a base. Um, as long as you have the proper mindset of every other trader who's looking at this, if you don't have the same terminology for it, that's perfectly fine. You can see a shoulder, a head, a small shoulder. You could look at it that way. As long as you're looking at this with a bullish mindset, you're going to be agreeing with the rest of the traders. That's definitely not a textbook head and shoulder neither, but we can tell from a couple different patterns here that it's looking bullish. You're getting a possible some reversal signals down here, and it's worth looking at. So you don't have to have the exact same terminology. That's what people think. They think they have to learn every single candle pattern and every single pattern, and you don't. That's nice. That's really nice if you can, but some people can't recognize everything like that. But if they can recognize it's bullish, then they can definitely make money on it. That's what matters. You don't have to know everything about the stock market, as long as you know how to make money with the stock market. Like right here, this is Baidu, this is weekly. You have a hammer candle down here. We all know hammers is a possible, what's called a bullish reversal candle. I look at it as a trend change candle. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to go up, but good chance that you're going to get a trend change. FUTU, you have this nice bull flag here, and nice strong candle. Monday took the 200 out. Looks like it gapped down, kind of right back into below the 200, took it back, and it's been able to push up. But you do have, your Bollinger Bands here. It's seeing some resistance. But that was a nice little flag that we talked about last week. Pushed out of that, and on the weekly chart, you had this nice little rounded bottom. We were able to push up again. Watch your 50. You're getting ready to come into your 50 on your weekly there. And you can see the gap up, gap up. Every day it gaps up and pulls back down. You could look at it like that. Maybe Monday this thing may gap up again and try to push, and you may be able to catch a pullback. See if you can get a recovery off the pullback. It's different ways to trade. You don't have to, you just don't have to spend a lot of money in algorithms and all that to come into the market and make money. You don't have to be the smartest person in the world. You really don't. There's so many ways. If you can set your mind to a few simple things, which really ain't simple, but taking profits and stuff like that, and just find a fairly simple strategy that works for you. You can make money in this market. That's all that matters. You don't have to know everything about the market, as long as you understand how the market works, and you can come in here and make money. You can do that on a daily basis. So your MACD's almost, it looks like it wants to fizzle out here. This is JD, very, very gappy price action. I would not trade that. I just don't like that gappy price action. I may day trade it if it's got a catalyst behind it, but I'm not looking to try to hold anything looks like that. You have a nice rounded bottom down here on the weekly. We're going to see that a lot with a lot of these. You got a nice MACD on the weekly as well, showing momentum. You got to watch that 50 there, though. Really need to watch this 50 on this one. You're right into it on the weekly. This is Li Auto, very extended here. This one, I think, benefited the most from the government subsidies. Nice push here in the MACD, but you can tell it's really extended here outside the Bollinger Bands. Look at those tight dojis. This really wants to pull back. Not sure. You can see the bearish volume coming into it. This really, really, really wants to pull back. And I don't mean it's going to crash. It just really wants to pull back, even if it just comes back to your 20 to the mean, is even the 9 would be better than nothing. You can see how it touched the 9 and pushed. But if you can catch a pullback to the 9, if it loses the 9, watch the 20, because that's the mean for your Bollinger Bands, and you're extended out of your Bollinger Bands. So it could come back and push. That's what it really needs to do. Look at that big move this week. Hard to believe. A lot of people have been calling for puts on that. A lot of the stock market entertainers have been calling for puts on that. You can see how it's gapped up as well. Like I say, if you're holding this and this thing gaps up a couple of dollars, that's a nice move. It's a nice win for you if you're holding calls. But if you're holding puts or it just doesn't go in the direction of your thesis, you can take a beating trying to hold these. EDU, this is the one we added. This is a very nice flag. Now, we have gotten back below the 9 here, but this is a really nice flag. We were extended outside of the Bollinger Bands, basically just like we talked about, coming back, taking the 9 out. Looks like a good chance it could push at any time. The MACD also looks like it wants to roll. We could be possibly pinching, though. Kind of looks like that snake with his head up, and that could lead to a pinch. Could very well lead to a pinch. Watch your 20. That would be your meme, and there's a good chance you can get a push off that 20. This thing is moving on volume. So, the momentum or the relative strength has died off, forming the flag, but we could very well push. And your momentum looks like it wants to fade away, but you could be, like I say, it looks like that snake slithering along with his head up, and that could lead to a MACD pinch, which would cause momentum, is a sign of momentum, open up, histogram bars come in, and that flag pop. So the MACD can be a very powerful tool trying to help you spot that. Looking at the intraday charts can be a big help as well. I don't believe I put the 15 in here for that one. EDU weekly chart, you can see we put this little rounded bottom in down here. Took the 200 out, so we are above the 200, but we're extended outside of the Bollinger Bands there. You can see, moving on, expanding volume, but last week, they give it a break last week. Maybe they'll try to push it this week. MACD still bullish on that. I don't believe I put the 15. No. Here's NIO. We talked about this last week. We said it looked good. I looked at this from a different chart view, and I really thought it was going to pull back. There's a channel here. If you were to draw this line, we are riding right on that line, and it continues to push every day, getting expanding volume coming into it, relative volume coming into it. Nice MACD. You got this pinch here, and this week it has opened up just like that mouth we talk about, like that largemouth bass. How they like to open that big mouth. You're getting a wider opening there. The MACD's growing. Looks good. I would watch the 200. It could really use a little pullback to get back inside of that Bollinger Bands. Just a little extended there away from your 9. Pullback would be welcomed. Definitely looks bullish. We talked about this inverted head and shoulders last week, how the symmetry takes away the probabilities, and the volume characteristics were okay on it. It just wasn't, just not crazy about the symmetry of it, but it's continued to push. Even though if you did a measured move from here to here, that pattern has fulfilled the move that you would get out of that. Still looks really bullish. I would prefer to see a pullback. If you can get a pullback to the 9, you can probably get a buy the 9 strategy on that. NIO, a little rounded bottom down here. This is NIO's weekly. You got a dragonfly down there letting you know, hey, this can be considered as a reversal signal in the right place at the right time, right into a rounded bottom at the bottom. You can also look at it. Some people would call that a shakeout candle. I don't think it's deep enough for a shakeout candle, but either way, we do have a rounded bottom down here. Some people would call it a double bottom as well. And you can look at it that way. Either way, it's bullish. This chart, is trying to push up. Got a nice move. Took the trend out the week before, last week. Made a nice push up here, gap up. Gapping up on the weekly, strong. Trying to open this Bollinger Band up. I need to see that Bollinger Band open up for the price. Watch this downtrend if it does continue to push. Watch your MACD. It's good. There's a lot of power. You can get a lot of signals and a lot of signs out of your MACD if you know how to use it properly. You can see NIO grinding up here. No big moves, no big fast moves, but we know it's laying right on that trend line / Bollinger Band right there. So, you know, it's tapping a wall. If it was to break out of that, it could probably make a decent move. I don't know how far it would get because it's so extended now. This thing was to pull back to the 9, it could probably start making bigger moves, bigger dollar moves if we could just get a pullback to that 9. PDD, I like this as well. You know, these are not my favorite stocks to trade. You know, we talk about the gaps and stuff, but this down, you know, this 200 is ascending down or descending down. Price went wedged right up into it, took it out. We are above that 200 now. Your Bollinger Band looks like it wants to roll over and try to pinch again. I can see this making a move. Very possible. Look, the MACD trying to spread right there. So converging, trying to open back up. It's a good chance that this is getting ready to make a move, showing relative strength. It's worth keeping an eye on. This is the one thing that bothers me. So you have the 200 on the PDD. We're right into it. This is the weekly chart. We're right into this 200. Look how the MACD, I'm sorry, look how your moving averages are curling up, wanting to follow the price. Even the 20 starting to turn, your 9's turning. They want to follow the price up. That's a good sign. Moving on, expanding volume down here. You do have a hammer candle down here as well. You could get a rounded bottom out of that as well. But my fears is this 50 and 200 coming in right there. That can act as a big level of resistance. Maybe we could pull back. I would like to see it take a week off, pull back, and get closer to this 9, then repush. So let's watch these daily charts for buy the 9 strategies. You can see here where it's just been very gappy. Had this big push that day, come back, filled that gap, come down. We got this gap up. It's pushed, got another gap up, come back on that gap at market open, come back, filled that gap, and then pushed up. See where it opens Monday. It's got a history of gapping up, but you have to be careful. You know, I know seeing this thinking, all right, if I buy it, hold overnight, I can wake up and it's gapped up. It's an easy way to make money. It's also a very easy way to lose money if it turns against you. Look at XPEV here. Kind of got around this bottom down here on the daily, but we had this flag here we talked about. This candle was already in, so we had a flag and a breakout. This is the last week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, right up into the 200. Moving on, expanding volume. Look at the MACD. All right, just like we just talked about. See how it comes in, kind of looking like a snake. The head rising up. This is exactly what we were talking about a while ago, except this one's playing out. So you got the snake, you got the head rising up, and now the mouth has come open. This kind of looks more like a duck with his mouth open, but the thought of that snake head and wanting it to open up just like that is exactly what we'll be looking for. The chart we were looking at a while ago, talking about that. Watch your 200 for resistance. What we need to do is get some rejection, come back, tag the 9, then try to repush. If we can get reconnected those 9s, then these may be worth trading. Right now, they're too far extended for me. Scalps only, you can scalp them. This is the weekly chart. Look at the hammer candle, dragonfly, just getting signals down here that something's changing, signs of a trend change, and you got it coming into a rounded bottom. Your moving average is starting to turn. So you got a big push right into this 50 last week. I'd watch the 50 for resistance. XP 15-minute chart once again. I mean, these you can, possibly, like we mentioned a while ago, this one is a better look for a connect on the 50 type play. Almost touched it there, pushed, touched it, pushed, touched it, pushed, touched it, push. So watch XP for a touch of the 50 on the 15. And we're back to Baidu. So that's the end of this video. I hope this helps. I hope everybody's having a great weekend, and I'll see you in the trading room.